It is our final segment with Josh Horn, Social Security. If you want to join us, 737-7587 is the number. And we have next up Kathy. Kathy, good morning. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, dear. I have a question. My son draws Social Security Dependence Pay because his father passed away. When his father was disabled before he passed away, they done a reconsideration on him. He was also disabled all the way through that, but during the end of it, he became afflicted with cancer, and he passed away 6 days after they diagnosed the cancer. But he was still in that reconsideration stage, even though he died from his difficulties. They want my son to pay back the Social Security benefits that he drawed.
They want him to pay back the money that he's been drawing since his father died?
No, the money that his father drawed during the time period that he was in his reconsideration stage, even though he was still disabled and he died from the cancer.
So the father was drawing disability and then went for like a medical review?
He was going through a medical review.
Okay.
And he came down with cancer also and died 6 days later after the cancer was diagnosed.
Well, it's weird. Why would they have him pay it back? It's the medical review. They didn't issue a verdict that he no longer qualified, did they?
Well, they said that he wasn't qualified because he died.
Yeah, it sounds like they had stopped his benefits and he was going through reconsideration of the cessation.
He was continuing to draw his benefits because he was completely bedridden, and then he died before they made their verdict because of the cancer.
Yeah. So basically,
and now here 8 years later, they're wanting my son to pay back that time period because he died.
Yeah.
And didn't get to finish the medical review.
Yeah, basically, we need to apply for a waiver in that situation. When there's an overpayment kind of floating around out there, sometimes the system will go and try to find somebody to recoup the overpayment from, and it could be a child or something like that. I mean, I've seen it to where there was an overpayment 30 years ago, and that person finally files for retirement, or the survivor files for widow's benefits or things like that. Well, that overpayment's still kind of hanging out there somewhere, even if it's a small overpayment. But what you need to do is file for a waiver, and that form is the SSA 632, in case you want to look it up on our website. Or
I filed a waiver, but they still say that they've got to recoup that money because he's died.
How much is it, you think?
It was $4,000 and something, and they only give my son $300 a month.
Huh.
Yeah. So did they explain to you? So they already made a decision on the waiver?
No, I have to go to a hearing.
Okay, yeah. So you've got a hearing scheduled, so the judge will be able to take a look at that. You'll be able to have a conversation with the judge about it, and kind of go from there. So you're doing the right thing. If you disagree with the decision, make sure and follow up on your appeal rights. It's kind of a tough situation.
But I would think the judge, maybe when he sees this now, and I understand the system kicks stuff out. You got to understand that, Kathy, and just sees something, doesn't really think it through. It's a bureaucracy. But when she can get before a judge, maybe, and it's frustrating for her, I'm sure, going through this time, and they can't pay this $4,000. Won't the judge see this? Say, okay, well, he died.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello is pretty much,
Yeah, it sounds like there was an overpayment before he died.
Maybe
is what it sounds like. I mean, again, I don't have the computer right in front of me, and so.
But what I don't understand is how there's an overpayment. I mean, if he was being reviewed, but when you're being reviewed, they don't freeze your checks, do they?
Well, if they stop, so let's say it sounds like he had some other kind of condition, and he may have improved. They did a medical review. They said, hey, you've improved to where you can go back to work, so we're going to stop your benefits, and somehow there was an overpayment involved at that point, and then he was filing for reconsideration on that decision to stop his benefits when he got cancer and died. Well, his disability was not based on the cancer, and so they are only looking at what his disability was, and the fact that there was an overpayment floating around out there.
Is that kind of how it worked, do you think, Kathy?
Hello, good morning.
Oh, wait, that's Tony. I'm sorry. Kathy, is that kind of how that worked?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. See, here's the thing now. If it was a mistake, but there was an overpayment, then I'm not sure the judge is just going to make that go away. I mean, that's the problem. It's not. I don't see how it's her son or son's fault, but that money went out there when it shouldn't have. apparently was taken by him or whoever and used as he would expect. So maybe it's not as clear cut, but yeah, she definitely needs to explain it to a judge.
I mean, definitely explain it to a judge. You're definitely doing the right thing. In a Social Security overpayment situation, they have to prove two things: that the individual who's charged the overpayment is without fault, which in this case the child would be without fault. I don't think there's any question there. They also have to be unable to repay it, and that's where they have to look at your expenses and some different, and his expenses, the child's expenses, and that's where it can get kind of challenging. And so the judge will be able to look closely at that. But I highly encourage you, ask all your questions while you're there. Write them down before you go to the judge, so that if he says, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to waive this," you can ask those questions and make sure you get a good understanding of the situation.
And then keep appealing the process. But I would think maybe the loss of the father, something the judge will consider as well.
Yeah.
But again, that's a tough one, Kathy. But you'll have to go through that process. Let's go to Tony. Hi, Tony.
Yeah, good morning, Nick.
Good morning. What's up?
Yes, back it's one of they done some series of stories in Tennessee about the Social Security attorneys in Tennessee. Some of those guys was getting a lot of money denying people. One doctor, I think he got to be a millionaire denying people. He got a bonus for denying people. And probably wanted to see if he could comment on that. And they got that straightened out. Because Tennessee is one of the worst in the nation in denying people Social Security and disability.
Well, there've been all kinds of stories here and there, from everything targeting certain attorneys that kind of play the system to, now you have doctors that have to sign off sometimes on the disability claim if they do examinations, right? Sometimes.
Yes.
Are they given incentive to keep that number down?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's not the case. I mean, really the situations that we've seen and the lawsuits and different things that's happened as far as Social Security decisions have actually been the other way. It's where folks were rubber stamping yes instead of looking like they were supposed to and that's up at the higher levels. And so we don't have anybody that's has problems rubber stamping it no. I mean, that's just a lot of times it's very, it's a challenging situation to look at, especially some of the cases like we've talked about where you've got mental illness or you've got some even some physically disabling conditions that may or may not last for a year, may or may not be able to be corrected with medicine, and especially when you're right there kind of at the beginning of the process, it's hard to say. And so again, the initial stages, a lot of times there's a denial because it looks like they might be able to go back to work within a year, and then you get to the judge's level and it's already been a year, and it's like, in hindsight, and now we've got all this medical documentation that shows nope, it's definitely going to last more than a year, and it looks like they can't even go back to work. So
all right, let's take a quick call from Michael, see if we can wrap it up. Hey Michael, good morning. Hi Michael.
Yes, hey, I had a question.
Sure.
I'm 58 years old, and somebody told me the other day about a second chance of employment where I could work like for 9 months and keep my benefits. I'll be like on a trial thing.
yeah.
I could work full time without losing my benefits.
Yeah, you want to give it a shot?
And then after 36 months, you'll lose your cash benefits, but you won't lose your Medicare. And I need to confirm all that because I have an opportunity to go to work doing.
Okay, real quick. We only have about 2.5 minutes. Tell him what he needs to know.
9 trial work months where you can make as much as you want to. We're not going to affect your benefits. It's going to keep coming. 36 months after that, you're going to, if you make over the limit, we won't pay you. If you make under the limit, we will pay you. And then you actually get some additional Medicare. If your benefits stop because of work, your Medicare will actually continue for a few more years just to help you get back to work, because that's what we want.
So what you're telling him is, with this trial, 9 months, it's not. Everyone worries. I'm going to do this, and I can make more money, and I don't want to jet. What if it doesn't work out for me, and then I lose my benefit, and then I've got nothing? And we've talked about this many times. I think it's one of the great parts of Social Security where they can encourage you to take advantage of what he's talking about. So do it. That 9 months, he can make $10 million in that 9 months, and it won't affect his benefit. But then after 36 months, he'll be reviewed.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the limit, cost to earnings limit after the first 9 months?
Let's see, the substantial amount this year is $1,220 per month. So if
$1,220.
you're under that amount, we'll pay you. If you're over that amount, we won't pay you. That goes back and forth for 3 years. And then after that, your benefits will stop if you go over that amount, but you'll continue your Medicare for a little longer.
But the first 9 months, you're free and clear, and you
Yep.
can see how you do. What do you think? You might give it a try, Mike?
I can make. This job pays like $12 an hour, and I can make, every bit of bringing home probably $400 a week. That's $1,600. I get $1,500 a month now just for my disability. So that's why I don't want to. I want to go back to work because I want to be able to build my points back up to where I hit 65 years old. I have more points for me in order for my benefits to go up for my Social Security.
Well, you can go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. You're making that much, and that'll be nice to have more of that money. Go through that for the first 9 months, and then after that, you'll have to watch the earnings limits. But then after 36 months, you'll have to make a decision on what you're going to do. So, the information you got was accurate, and you can do that.
Yeah, because I had major back surgery done 3 different times, and my back level, like my pain level in my back is like a 1 or a 2. And before it was like an 8.
See, you've gotten better. That's
Good.
fantastic. Well, that's what I talk about. People like him, they want to work if they can for a lot of reasons, get his points up. So I'm glad he called.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
for him. You go ahead and do that, Michael, and have that extra money and get out and work, which I think always helps with people's esteem as well. And, good for him. If the pain level's down, maybe he can get back and even go more full-time. Josh, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man. Good show
Good to be
today.
here
I
today.
appreciate it. Lots of great phone calls. That was a good one to end on. We'll see you again in about a
All right,
month.
we'll
huh?
do it.
All right, take a break. Be back with the programming note about tomorrow right after this.